What's up, y'all? Down South 77 here again, and this is 3 Star Draw. This is an adult channel where we talk about G.I. Joe stuff, primarily G.I. Joe classified and classified related things. We might talk about anything as long as it pertains to G.I. Joe, and hell, I might go outside of G.I. Joe once in a while. Today, we're going to be talking about a figure that I really did not see myself sitting here doing a video on because I did not plan on owning this figure. I will show you why in just a second. We're going to be talking about number 80, Ralph Nunchuck Baducci. That's old Brooklyn Ninja. That's old Ralphie. There's what his box looks like. He comes with quite a bit of stuff. I'm interested in seeing his accessories. So I'll go ahead and give you my, I don't know if you call it a disclaimer or what it is, but I already have a bias against this figure. And I will tell you why. I was not planning on picking this figure up, but I'll show you why I am right there. That's why I picked him up because they made him number 80. And I made a ridiculous, I don't know if I'd call it a vow, but a ridiculous thing to myself that when I started collecting these guys, I wanted to get the first 100 figures. So that means I got to track down some exclusives or some pricey figures because the early figures and the exclusives are pricey. And that also means that I have to track down a HasLab Hiss because they made the last two part of the HasLab. No, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, good old Ralphie here. By the time this guy came out in A Real American Hero, he was released in 1992. And 1992 was probably in the middle of the death rattle for my G.I. Joe amassing and collecting and playing with days. I had thought I misspoke. I was talking to some other collector streamers one time, and I had told them that the only figure that I had from 1992 was Slice because I thought he was cool. I thought he looked cool. But I was wrong once I pulled up the figures from 1992. I had one other one, and that was the V2 Firefly, which compared to V1 Firefly and Firefly as we knew him in 1984 was just a horrible interpretation of the character. And my nose really itches. We've had some weird weather, so sorry about that. So yeah, 92, I was checking out a G.I. Joe, and that was around the time that they introduced Ninja Force. And Ninja Force was pretty much the death knell for my interest in Joes. I was not even collecting the comic frequently. I would pick an issue up here and there, but also around that time it went to all ninjas all the time, and that just was too far away from the GI Joe that I know and love. I could deal with them creating Serpentor and all of the bats and all of the weird sci-fi shit that they incorporated. But honestly, when they come out with Ninja Force, they were about 8 years too late, I feel like. And I kind of feel like the whole reason they created Ninja Force was to ride the wave of the success of Ninja Turtles, which was probably G.I. Joe's biggest rival at that time period. But I was aging out of the line. I wasn't really reading the comic anymore. I wasn't keeping up with the storylines. But I still went in. I still went in Toys R Us or Walmart or wherever, and I'd always look at the figures. I always have. Even the years that I wasn't really collecting anything, I would always take a stroll through the toy aisle just to see what was out there. So I was doing that, and it was right on that cusp of do I want to keep collecting these guys or not? And I saw what they were doing with them, and I just was not interested. They did nothing for me. But I'm I'm going to talk about Ninja Force and the figures and kind of what I like and what I don't like. But mostly, we're going to open up good old Ralphie here and take a look at him and all the cool stuff he comes with. I have heard that this figure has some very, very tight joints, and I've actually seen a couple people say that they had some joints on him that were actually fused together, like they don't bend. And I'm using the arm as example because the very first Crimson Bat that I bought, I was so excited to get, his left arm is fused together at the elbow. And I've tried every method there is without melting plastic. It's literally made together. So I hope I don't get a nunchuck Ninja that his is like that. But we're gonna open him up and we'll move some stuff around and we'll get him out and take a look at him. And if he's real bad, I'll go heat him up and check him out. But hang on just a second. Let's look at old Ralph. All right, so there we are. There is issue 117. This was the first appearance of Ninja Force. I did not realize it was that far back. I thought it was a little bit further up in the comic book. So this is the issue where it introduces them. They're training. They've got to try and take on Storm Shadow by themselves in the basement of the building from New Jack City is what it looks like, or the Enterprise. So that was a really weird place for the camera to all crash. That's what that was. So sorry that was a weird edit. So that was his debut in the comic. And over here, this is why I tuned out of the Joe comic right here. Snake Eyes and Ninja Force. All of this Ninja Force and the Snake Eyes. I mean, I like Snake Eyes and all, but that's where they lost me. So I'm still trying to complete my Real American Hero run from back then, and I did not have some of these issues. My good buddy Jesse just sent me 135, 6, and 7 for an early Christmas present to try to help me complete my run. So thank you, Jesse. And I'm going to go ahead and slice him open, but I'm going to talk just a second about Nunchuck. So his name is Ralph Baducci. He is from Brooklyn, New York, and his military specialty is a self defense instructor. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. He studied mystic fighting forms under the Blind Master, and then he wanted to perfect his form, so he went to San Francisco to study with Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow really liked him and became one of his star pupils and one of the commanders of Ninja Force. So he it also notes that he was the commander of the GI Joe Battle Wagon, which of course I never had. I think it came out in '93, and it has got to be one of the most ridiculous looking vehicles they ever made. It's this giant like two-tone thing with this enormous spring-loaded gun on it. It could not look less like something a ninja would drive. So, of course, I didn't know it, and I think it's funny that they put him in charge of driving it because of that. And also, on none of the promo images are there any of the ninjas in it. So maybe it's because I think most of them come out the year before. It's just funny. I kind of threw that in there, like, oh, he drives the battle wagon. We got to go get Nunchuck now. So I just thought that was a funny tidbit. It's also not in any of the promo any images for that thing either. Just I thought that was funny. So I'm just not on board with the ninja stuff. So all right, I got him open. So I am going to let's move these a little bit. See if we can reduce a little bit of glare there because we're gonna need some light. Let's get these all the way over there. So let's get a good look at old Ralphie. Hey, Ralphie. All right. Nothing fell out. That's a good sign. So, kind of weird on my camera angles here because I'm I'm setting off to the side of where my camera's at. So there he is. He doesn't look bad. I kind of like his camo scheme. Let's get a look there, see if his eyes look like they ought to. Looks pretty good. Right eye looks a little. It, I was gonna say derpy. It doesn't necessarily look derpy. It looks like his right eye is partially closed, is what it looks like. So let's first off, let's bust him out of prison here. I've kind of gotten used to using these scissors on these. I still like hitting it from the back. And I've kind of gotten used to this now. So get all these little dealios out of here because I hate these things. Get them out of the way. So we'll set that up back there. So there's what he looks like up close. His web gear here is, move my mic a little bit. Hopefully that's still picking me up. His web gear, pretty decent looking. Now, the original figure, this was soft goods, and here it is hard plastic. That does not quite line up, but it looks like it won't be too big of a problem to get it to. Set that over there just a second. So he is definitely not floppy. He's a pretty solid feeling figure. It seems like they finally went back to better plastic on the figures, and if we can get them to follow suit with the weapons, maybe we'll have something there. So he is. So elbows are not too bad there. That one is that one's pretty tight right there. Knees, I saw somebody say his knees were really stiff. Well, that bottom, okay, well it broke free there. Let's check this one. I saw somebody, I can't remember what side they said it was fused. So mine is not fused. That's actually, once you break it loose, that's not that's not too bad. That's actually about the tolerances I would like for him. He does. I had his foot crooked. I was about to say he stands well, so he stands okay. Yeah, that's how I test my figures on their stance. Is I tap their feet. You do that when you get them set up. There's a little tip for you guys that have trouble getting them set up, and I do. There's just some of them that are horrible, but when you get them set up how you think you want them, if they don't move when you do that right there, look at that. He ain't even budging. He is solid in his ninja resolve. He ain't going anywhere. Well, you're going nowhere, buddy. What the hell is that? What goes in there? He's got a hole in the back of his head. Cobra's already found this dude. All right. I actually, much as I really was not expecting to say it, I kind of like him. So hang on, let me mute the mic while I cut the rolling papers open, because I don't want anybody to have to hear that mess. So hang on just a second. All right, there we go. So I got his stuff open. Let's take a look at what he comes with. There they are. There is his nunchucks. They are very disappointing. I already knew they were going to look like this. I've already seen stuff on him. I don't think it's too much for them to figure out a way to do this with actual chain. At least, it's an accessory that they finally should be bendy and floppy with, and they are. These have they got a little bit of sprue there. That ain't supposed to be there. I'm sure. Um, I don't know. Maybe it is. They all have it. Okay. Well, may either they're malformed or they're supposed to be that way, which I would not really have expected. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. He's got. I forgot. He's got the little headband thing that plugs in the back there. So let's go ahead and put that in. The little sashes on most of these figures I throw in my accessory bag for the figure because they're just something that's going to get knocked off and I don't like them. So that's really soft going in. So okay, I think that might go in. Okay, so I guess you can spin it around. So this is I don't care for that much myself. I've seen other people complain about it because it's different from the original, but it's I just don't like it. So this is the other thing is his pauldron thing um, does hinder some movement, but it bends. Like I've seen people say that this really gets in the way of his movement. But that one on the left is not bad. The one on the right, that one. I think if you do that, let's see if I can. I shouldn't have to do this, but okay. Well, it's not. I don't want to go any further than that. The left one goes way up, but the right one, they are they're the same. The pauldrons are the same. So I don't know. Maybe it's up too high. I think you could. I think you could probably move this. You could probably heat him up and move this down. I think and get some more play in it. But it's better than I thought. It's better than what it looked like from some other reviews. So he's got the butterflies. Butterfly joint is actually pretty tight. He's got a pretty good range of movement there in that one. So yeah, they actually fit in there pretty well. That arm, the right arm, right arm's a little wobbly. But here's the real test: if you can bend their arms, I shouldn't have to go heat this dude up. I'm gonna try to do this without heating him up because once you get them broke loose, I'm gonna have to heat up. I'm gonna have to heat up that right arm. It's not the left arm broke loose, but that one's not. So I don't really feel like going and stopping just for that. So we'll just go with the bend we got. So he's got the split fingers that we're getting on these guys for whatever reason. Yeah, I thought he came with Ninja stars. Does he not? I guess he doesn't. Where's his? No, I'm looking at the box. He doesn't come with Ninja stars. That's kind of disappointing. I really didn't think I was gonna like the look of this figure because to me he looks like he's wearing kids' pajamas. I swear I had some pajamas like this when I was about 5. But he is a ninja, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some nunchucks in his damn hand, and maybe he's got them so it looks like he's doing some sweet nunchuck tricks. His name's Nunchuck, so he's got to have some pretty sweet nunchuck skills. So there's what he looks like. They're not impressive. They don't look like they're in motion or anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have these in his hands because his name is Nunchuck. His swords are actually straight. A little bit of curve there. That one is actually straight. These are some pretty neat looking swords. I don't know if we've seen this sword before or not. Maybe did he come with Red Ninja? I don't know. I don't have one, but I don't have one open. So he's got some green on there. It's these look really nice actually. Got the serrated edge. these are some pretty nice looking blades. I am impressed with that. Once again, do not stand behind this dude, because if he turns around too fast or he gets excited and you're standing behind him, hey, hey, he turns around, everybody behind him is dead. So he's got these claws that go through his hands. There's not enough. I mean, this looks like okay. I guess they go in his hands. I guess they have to, right? Where do these go? Does he hold them? Okay, so he holds them. He holds them like that. All right, that's how they go on. It seems like if he was to strike something with that, like it would just hurt his hand. Like don't seem like that would go over very well. I'm really disappointed that he doesn't have any Ninja stars though. So there's those things, the little claws. So he's a Wolverine. I don't really care for these things. They look okay. They'd have been better if they had some paint apps on them, but they do not. Knife goes in there. It's plain. It's black. And let's see if I show it real good. It's not. There's not much to the knife. Again, it's funny how they will do paint apps on certain things, and then other things they just kind of like, meh, we don't need to do that. We've done enough. We've spent enough money tooling this guy up. So he's got the holders back here for his nunchucks for easy access for anybody. Oh, there's a little paint app on the handle. What the hell? Why does it have just a little speck of silver on one of the nunchuck handles? That don't make any sense. I don't know. I think if you're gonna make a character named Nunchuck and you give him nunchucks and they're just kind of janky, and but you make his swords awesome. I don't know. That one's sticking right there. Let's go ahead and get that in there. Maybe so. These things could be. These things could benefit from a little bit of heat too. See, this little weird piece right here is stopping them from going in the holder. I don't understand. Make it make sense. So it's got the little flare on the end, which if you've ever seen real nunchucks, most of them do, so they don't go sliding out of your hand. Okay, there it goes. I'm really having a difficult time with this. I'm probably tired of looking at this. Now it's a mission ninjas to get his nunchucks in there. Well, go in there. Too good for your home. All right, there. I ain't even gonna try and get that one down in there any more than this. Okay, so there they go. I might have lied. I may never take those things out again. So there's Nunchuck. Ralph Baducci. Hey, it's me, Ralph Baducci. I come to be the ninja. So he's not bad. I'm a little bit surprised. I kind of like him. I'm not gonna rush out and buy Ninja Force now if they make them, and they're gonna. We're gonna get the 19th version of Snake Eyes. I do like the Ninja version of Storm Shadow though. The Arctic one was kind of based off of it. I think he looks a little bit like him. Knock the camera over. So there he is. There's Ralph Baducci in all his Wolverine glory. He's an okay figure. If he was not number 80 and I'm trying to collect 100, I would have passed on him. I probably would have passed on him had I have seen him. Somebody like, my cousin come over is like, hey man, I got Nunchuck. Let's bust him out and look at him. I'd have been like, yeah, I like his pajamas. I like his swords. Yeah. So there he is. Pick him up if you want to, if the ninjas were your thing. I know they were for a lot of people. He does pose really well, though. I think once I get him heated up, He can get in some ninja poses. His ankles seem to be pretty nice and solid for these figures. That's one thing I am glad to see is they're making their damn ankles where they don't flex and bend as much, so they just kind of flop over. So there he is, got him doing some weird little ninja kick. Ninja kick. So Nunchuck, I did not want to like this figure. So I told you from the beginning I was biased against all of Ninja Force and Nunchuck himself, but I do like him. I'm gonna give him a 3.5 yeehaws, y'all. He would if they'd have done a little more with the nunchucks and give us some real chains, had some paint apps on his Wolverine claws, and I don't know. It just if they could have spiced him up a little bit. He's kind of a basic figure. I like the muted colors because he is a ninja, so his pajamas make sense. Damn, I hated when I was a kid and you had the pajamas with the footies in them. I always made my mom cut them out. Um, so as far as being a ninja, at least he's not neon green with like the tiger stripes being purple. He actually pulls it off. I don't know. Have your own opinion about this being soft goods. But y'all, I'm gonna give him a 3.5 yeehaws. I was really expecting him to land at a 3 or maybe below. Other than that one elbow joint, I don't seem to have any QC issues with mine. There's a little bit of weird paint stuff in there. You can see that on his butterfly, but that maybe that'll come off. I don't know. So there's Ralph Baducci, Nunchuck. So what do you guys think? He's not a bad figure. He's not great, but he is number 80. So now he's going on my shelf. You guys like what I'm doing? I appreciate you giving me a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. Come back and see me again. We'll be doing it soon. Take care, y'all.